there is a chance that she's going to beat and drag my ass, and I have to be ready.
I'ma you sweet like Oyin. You ring my mind like deja vu. I'ma you sweet like Oyin. Ain't nobody bad pass.
I'ma tell y'all what's tea. Oh, you gonna know what's tea in the minute. Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. It is your girl, Oyin. Let me stop the video. Before we get into anything, I'm gonna need you to hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and press subscribe. It's not gonna cost you anything. It's free 99. And last but not least, I'm gonna need you to just sit back, relax, and sip some tea because the tea will be spilled. Let me just go ahead and set the scene. Now, this story took place a couple years ago, and it was when I moved into my very first apartment. I was feeling like a big girl, you know. I had money, just got into my new apartment, and on the day that I was supposed to move, something happened with the front office, so I wasn't able to move in that day. I had already had all my roommates' information, so I had reached out to roommate A. We'll go ahead and call her Bonnie. So I reached out to Bonnie and she was like,
yeah girl, I'm gonna let you in, that's no problem.
When I got into the apartment, Bonnie let me in. I met her boyfriend, we'll call him Clyde. So Bonnie and Clyde were in the living room. They were just talking to me, letting me know about each of the other roommates. One of the roommates was like never there. We're just gonna leave her out of the story. And then there was a third spot that hadn't been filled yet. So that's very, very important in the story. We're just gonna go ahead and come back to that later. So some of the house rules that Bonnie told me was, you know, everyone's chill in the house. No one really separates groceries. They like all buy their groceries together. So I'm like, okay, cool. That's gonna be fine. I'll tell you guys, she was a sweet person at first. She was sweet. So I went into my room. I'll go ahead and put the layout of the apartment. That way you guys can see. I was all the way at the very end. And then there were the 3 other rooms, and Bonnie's room was right next to my room. I'm gonna include some like receipts as well, that way you guys can see everything. But the next couple of months went by. I want to say I moved in January, so the whole year went by, no problems. We were cool. I taught her how to draw her eyebrows from scratch. That's how cool we were. We would talk to each other's families, we would go out, we had like party, did everything. I didn't have a car, so she did most of the driving, so we would like visit different places. We loved eating food, so we were always trying out new places all the time. Here comes the next year, and this was around spring break. The way I am, I'm super calm, super chill. I did hair in college, so that's really how I got the bulk of my money. Now, Bonnie, she was loud. She was very loud. Our personalities like balance each other out. So around that spring break, I remember that we had a girl move into the apartment, and we'll call her Alyssa. So Alyssa moved into the apartment, invited her best friend over to spend the week. And Alyssa's best friend had a baby. We were all chilling, and you know, the baby's doing what a baby does. The baby cries sometimes, the baby, you know, is a little cranky, laughing, all that stuff. And the baby was so cute. I just remember the baby being so cute. I was talking to Bonnie, and she had said something like,
I'm gonna tell Alyssa that her best friend and that retarded ass baby need to leave.
and I said,
what did you just say?
let me repeat it again. She said,
I'm gonna tell Alyssa that her best friend and that retarded ass baby need to leave.
and I was like,
wait a damn minute. Wait a damn.
I know she did not just say that.
like, I know that she's like a loud person. I know that like a little bit of her personality was to be rude, but what I won't condone is you calling a child out of their name. Like, there's no reason why you should call a child retarded, you know? So me being the person that I am, I confronted her. I was like,
I don't like that. Don't say that around me, because you're technically speaking into that child's life, and that child is young. Like, you do not need to be calling that child anything other than its name.
so she started having attitude with me, and she was like,
Girl, get the fuck. I don't care. Like, I don't give a fuck.
and I was just annoyed. I'm like,
Bitch, are you dumb, dumb?
this was a very, very, very weird response. Mind you, I had told you guys that we had bought groceries together as an apartment. Like, all of us would buy our groceries together. And we had just bought a new set of groceries, water, everything. So the next day, after we finished having that conversation, I went to the kitchen to get water and the water was gone. I thought my mind was playing tricks on me. Like, where did the water just disappear to, right? So I knock on her door and I'm like,
"Hey girl, where is the water?"
she's like, oh,
I took my water back.
and I said,
"Oh,
so this is what we're doing. You know what? I don't even have time to argue with you. This is childish. So I basically was like, okay. She like slammed the door and I went into my room. I went and grabbed my purse and then I decided to walk to the store. Alyssa's best friend and her baby end up leaving because spring break's over and it's just us three in the house. So me, Bonnie, and Alyssa. I'm starting to notice over the next few days that the vibe is just super eerie. Everything is like off. She's dead silent, not talking to me, and I just came to terms with it. I said, okay, if this is what it's gonna be, then this is what it's gonna be, because if someone shows you who they are, you better believe it. But this girl was making it very, very, very hard for me to live in peace. Your home is supposed to be somewhere where you can just come, relax, you don't have to worry about too much. I didn't have that experience. I didn't have an experience where I felt like my home was like a safe place. Like, I literally would step into the house and I would start having anxiety. I'm just gonna start listing everything. I mentioned that Bonnie had a boyfriend, Clyde. So Clyde at first would only come over to the house and then he would go to his own apartment. He lived in the same apartments as us, so he would just stay, go to his own apartment, come back. That was kind of the arrangement. But something happened, so he ended up staying with us. And like, he was there all the time. Like, our rooms were right next door to each other. So like, I could hear everything in their room. And he was there 24/8. He never left. I would wake up, I would see him playing FIFA and NBA 2K in the living room. He was just there all the time. That was one. Two, whenever I would wash my clothes, she would decide to take my wet clothes out of the washing machine and just dump them on the couch.
why would you put my wet clothes on the couch? Why couldn't you just knock on my door once again?"
No, she didn't give me no warning or whatever. It was just really, really petty shit, like super petty shit. You guys, the fact that I'm like talking about it is just bringing up so many different memories. So then, and I'm actually gonna pull up my phone because like I said, I have the receipts. So I would go out and she would lock the top lock so that way I wasn't able to come home. But there were like several occasions where I would come home and I would literally be banging on the door and no one would let me in. So half of those times, Alyssa would be gone, but the times that Alyssa was home, she would open the door for me. But there was a time where I waited for almost an hour, 2 hours banging on the door. I never got in and I ended up having to call a friend to stay the night at their house. So I remember one night, I texted her and I was like,
"Hey, do you mind not locking the top lock tonight? I'm going out and I'll be back late. I believe Alyssa is going to be coming home late as well. Thank you in advance."
y'all, I was super respectful. Did you guys see anything wrong with that message? If you did, put it in the comments. Super respectful. This is what she says to me.
I say this with love and no hate, but I honestly think it would be better for both yourself and mine for you to just not communicate with me in general. It would make the living situation much better. But have a great night out.
I'm trying to come to you respectfully and you're telling me that we shouldn't even message each other. I said,
"Okay, I'll respect your wishes, but I just have one question for you. If you don't mind me asking, I'm not quite sure why you don't want to associate yourself with me. Did I do something to you?"
she didn't respond. That was just one of the many reasons that I was like slowly dying in that house. The straw that broke the camel's back. I had decided that I wanted to relax my hair. And if y'all grew up in a black home, you know that when you relax your hair, and if there's leftover, you put it in the fridge. You pop it in the fridge so that way you can be able to take it back out and just, you know, maybe like touch up your edges or whatever. This girl writes me a note, like on a sticky note.
Oyin, please take this out. The fridge is not supposed to be here.
I pay for this apartment. There's 4 different spaces. We each pay for our own portion. So I can put whatever I want to put in the fridge because it is my fridge. Okay? No, that wasn't enough for her. The next day, she writes me another sticky note on top of the sticky note. And she says,
Oyin, remove out of the fridge.
I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that because I'm going to use that relaxer later. Why would I do that? It's my relaxer. Why is it bothering you? I felt like every little thing that I did was bothering her. She had found some reason to make it seem like I was the one doing something wrong. Like, girl, I'm not bothering you. I'm minding my business, and you should mind the business that pays you. Like, you have a job, you have Clyde, why are you so up in my business? Going on day 3, I come home and Bonnie and Clyde are both cooking food. I swear, like, she just saw red.
What the fuck do you mean? You're so fucking stupid.
I could not believe it. She starts getting so loud, like,
that's why all your friends graduated before you.
The only thing I can think of was, I taught this girl how to draw on her eyebrows. She's in combative mode, and I'm like, I don't know how to fight. And Bonnie is a little bit bigger than me. Not a little bit. She was a lot of bit bigger than me. She was a big girl. And I just thought to myself, there is a chance that she's going to beat and drag my ass. And I have to be ready. Even if she decides to mollywop me with the floor, I just tried to close my eyes and think. I said, okay. I put my hand in a stance like this or whatever, and I have my hand down. She kept coming into my space. Like, she kept pushing close to me, and at one point her chest was on, like, literally all in my body, and she kept saying,
you better back up, you better back the fuck up, you better get the hell out of my space.
Girl, you were in my space. And Clyde was not doing anything. Like, he was in the corner mute, about to let this girl beat my ass over something that was not even a thing. Like, it did not even need to escalate to that, but like I said, I was ready to fight her. But all of a sudden, she like turns a switch, and instead of her not wanting to fight me, she gets out her phone. She gets out her phone like this, and she was like,
I'm gonna call the police, and I'm gonna tell the police that you're stalking me.
How are you gonna tell the police that I'm stalking you when you've been the one messing with me this whole entire time? I think at that point I was just like, this is not even worth my time. And I'm thinking to myself, I have a client that's coming in. Like, I have to do hair in a bit. I decided to leave, go get my client downstairs who was waiting for me. And while I was downstairs, I told my client, like,
hey, this is the situation that's going on. I'm so sorry you have to walk into this. I know it's not professional at all, but I just had this crazy ass roommate.
I literally start walking up the stairs because I lived on the 3rd floor. So I start walking up the stairs, and while I'm walking towards my apartment, I see that this girl, she has she started throwing all my stuff out the freaking door. And I said, this girl is mad. She's madness. She's mad. Her brain, everything mad. Like, she threw the relaxer out. She was throwing food. I just said, wow, this is a joke. I just started laughing. And I was embarrassed because my client had to see that. I then took all my receipts. I had been taking all the pictures, everything. And I went to the front office the next day. And I told them, I was like, hey, this is what I've been dealing with. And it seems like no one is helping me with my issue. And I need a room transfer. I do not want to be in this room. But if we fight, then you guys can't say anything because I've been telling you, like, I've been warning you of all of this stuff. So they did what they were supposed to do, and they moved me out of that room, and they did it like very secretly. A friend of mine came and helped, and I just packed on my load when she wasn't there, and I basically left. And there was nothing for us to talk about. Like, there was nothing for us to talk about. And I ended up moving to a new apartment. I actually moved to a 1-bedroom apartment because I just realized that living with roommates is just not for me. Like, I don't want to live with anyone. I can't predict how people will behave because they are crazy. I never got a sorry from her. It wasn't until, I think it was actually 2015, so a whole year later. But she messaged me on Facebook, and she basically tells me,
oh, I want to apologize for how I treated you. I was mad and overreacted.
I didn't even respond back because there was nothing left. There was nothing left to say. We both ended up living at the same apartment for years. I think at one point we had both moved to the other building, and our apartments were maybe 3 doors from each other. Never spoke. We never spoke to each other. I'm just the kind of person where if I decide to not be friends with you, we are no longer friends. Like, there's nothing for us to talk about. I completely forget about you. I think I said it in my last video, which I'll leave the tag on the top. When I'm done, I am done. There is nothing left for us to talk about. And that girl made my life a living hell. Like, I cried, like I was stressed, you know, not being able to focus. I couldn't even study in my apartment. Like, I spent a lot of my time at the library. It was just a hot ass mess. And like I said, that's the reason why I do not have roommates. I do not want to live with anyone. I don't care to live with anyone because people can flip on you and they're fucking crazy. So thank you guys for tuning into my story time. If you guys like the story and you guys want to see more stories like this, make sure you leave a comment below. Would y'all have reacted the same way I reacted? Like, would you guys have kept calm? You guys tell me. But yeah, until next time, bye.